That's why you get all of his podcasts up there, up and going. I don't know what he does for a real living, but I know he's up here.
He just does the same thing.
I know what he's...
What?
I've been doing this for a long time.
You're taking the day off tomorrow because it's too cold.
I wasn't going to tell nobody that.
Well, you did in the beginning.
You're taking the day. Maybe I do need to buy the station if I can just take the day off because the weather's not to my liking.
6 degrees. How many people think if I did the show tomorrow?
They don't watch it outside. They're sitting inside.
I'm going to do it outside with a pair of shorts on.
We're not doing the show tomorrow.
You wouldn't do that.
I would do it.
You would not. Not for more than one segment, you wouldn't.
He'd catch pneumonia, and then we'd be in the hospital, and he'd miss a week.
Yeah, old people don't need to be out in severe cold like that.
That's right. We old people. Hey, what are you talking about today?
I heard the strangest thing. I did a podcast with Dr. Randy Cross. You need to have him on the show. He's a professor at
Calhoun.
At Calhoun. And so he's telling these stories. And he told a story about his dad that I still have not been able to shake. He grew up in St. Joe, Tennessee, just across the line. All right.
That's where Holly Holman's from. Holly Holman, yeah.
And he said he grew up in this kind of normal farmhouse like you would. And one day his mother looked at his dad and said, you know, I think I'd like to have a basement.
The house is already built.
The house is already built. 50-year-old house, and she says, I think I'd like to have a basement because Miss So-and-so has one, and I think it's pretty nice. Well, how would you respond to that? If Gloria said, I think I'd like to have a basement under a house y'all had that was already built.
Think again.
I'd call Joseph Cannon, my city councilman.
To build your basement?
Yeah.
Yes, because he's good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard this.
Yeah. Well, this is what Randy Cross's dad did. He said, okay. So Randy said the next Saturday... Yeah, the next Saturday, his dad got a wheelbarrow and a shovel and took the shovel and stuck it in the ground and said, that's one. He hand dug a basement under an existing house with a pick, a shovel, and a wheelbarrow and hydraulic jacks.
That is a man who loves his wife.
Not only did he build it, did he dig it, then he framed it out, he plumbed it, he did it all. How long do you think it would take to do that?
Forever.
3 years.
One man doing it?
One man, 3 years. It would amaze me that you could do it, well, maybe 3.5.
It would take me 30 years to do it.
He doesn't like to get his hands dirty or calluses.
No doubt. No doubt. But talent doesn't do that.
One thing, I want these things touching.
That's okay with you, hush.
Hamburger.
Yeah. But I couldn't believe
it.
No.
I'm trying to bring him back, Gloria. I'm trying to. But I was amazed that,
Help me.
number one, you could do it in 3.5 years.
Yeah.
But number two, that you would even attempt it.
How do you keep your house from falling?
Well, he had the hydraulic jacks and shoring it up and all that. But what do you do with the dirt?
You got me.
Right?
You got to haul it off. He hauled it off on a wheelbarrow?
He put a big pile of dirt he just piled it up in the back of the property. But I was just amazed at that. And here's what I got out of it. And this is what I've been thinking about because I started reading the new book.
Stupidity?
Well, clearly there's some of that going on. But
wow.
Yeah. I'm reading this book called The Slight Edge. And the whole thing in the book is most of us already know the things to do to be successful. We just don't do them.
Is that motivational book?
Yeah.
I've got it.
Have you read it?
But I got it. What's in it?
Well, crack it open.
Roy gave it to me.
One of the best, I'm about halfway through, it's still one of the best books I've ever read. And it kind of coincides with Dr. Cross's dad is the reason we don't do a lot of things, the small things that help us, is we don't think they'll really work. We can't see over the hill of the results. Dr. Cross's dad could see that if he stuck that shovel in the ground enough times, there was going to be a basement. He could see that he could actually do it.
Let me tell you one of the worst accidents.
Clean out our garage.
One of the worst accidents I ever had. When I was
falling off the wheelbarrow?
Yes, married to Abby's mom. I'm getting ready to pave my driveway in New Hope. It's gravel right now, so I'm getting ready to put asphalt down.
You're getting ready to pay somebody to do it.
No, this is what he was very
Well, yeah, they're going to do it, but I'm going to move the gravel. My next door neighbor's right down here, a little hill, and I'm dumping the gravel down there. Well, I done made about 20 trips that wheelbarrow. I had it down pat, buddy. All of a sudden, I hit a bump on that. It flipped me up over the wheelbarrow, dented in, and bruised me about all the way across here. I don't think I've used one since then.
You swore off of them after that?
I did. I quit.
But Dr. Cross has got a whole bunch of funny stories in there, but that was just the one that stuck with me Now here's the rest of the story.
There's more?
Yeah. Later on, his mom and dad got ready to build a new house. And he said his mom and dad were sitting there talking about looking at the house plans and everything, and his dad looked at his mother and said, "Now, do you want a basement in this house? This new one that we're about to build? Because if you do, that's fine. We'll put it in there now, but I ain't digging another basement."
So after all of that, they got a new house?
Yes, they stayed in the house a little while longer and then built a smaller house. And she said, no, the basement wasn't as good as she thought it was going to be.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, yes, their heart. Oh, wow.
All right, Dee, let me ask you a question now.
All right.
I was in Dear Abby this morning, and it's a simple thing, and your dad maybe been a deacon down at Lindsay Lane Baptist Church, and you've been a former preacher and still preaching some. No, simple question, and this happened to us many times at Cross Point.
Okay.
If I sit at the end of a pew in church and someone comes in after me insisting I move because it's her or his favorite seat, should I do as asked, or should I ask the person to go somewhere else?
You just move over and say, welcome to Lindsay Lane, or welcome to Cross Point,
I always
welcome
pull
to
the seat out
whatever.
from Cross Point.
I always tell you to hush and move over, and you do it.
But
That's
at Cross
really
Point,
what
it was a problem.
happens.
People getting in our chairs. Did they not know that's the seat?
That you paid for, right?
Paid for it.
I mean, you kind of had that, oh yeah, I mean, that's such a Baptist thing is my pew.
Here's her answer. If you're sitting in God's house, you should be on your best behavior. Don't commit a sin of omission. Be an angel and shove over.
Just shove
Hey,
over.
if I got a minute to tell a quick story about something like that.
Yeah, because I got to go to Sheriff Blake and get sworn in.
An evangelist friend of mine, I won't name him, was preaching somewhere. And when you go and you're the visiting preacher, the home preacher takes you back in his office, and your wife sits out in the audience before the service starts. And so his wife is sitting there just very nice and very sweetly. And a lady comes up to her and says, "Honey, excuse me, but you're in my pew."
To the visiting
Evangelist's wife, and she very sweetly said, "Ma'am, I am so sorry, I didn't mean to." So she moves.
Right.
Fast forward to the sermon, and the evangelist is up in the pulpit, saying it's glad to be here, and says, "And I'm so glad to have my lovely wife who's with me." And he says, "Would you raise her hand?" And she raises her hand. After the service, the lady who has said that to the wife, comes up to her and says, "Oh, honey, I am so sorry. If I had known you were the evangelist's wife, I never would have asked you." And here was the great response that she had. She said, "Be glad I was the evangelist's wife and not a visitor."
Yeah, good answer.
Hey, that's good. They told this thing the other day at Sunday school, similar to that. Said there was this
Just
woman
a
that
seat,
complained
move
all the
over.
time. She complained about a fellow church member's truck being parked. She gossiped and said, "Did you see his truck parked outside that honky-tonk the other night all night?" Kind of embarrassed in front of everybody.
Yeah.
What did he do? He took it down and parked it in front of her house. Let's go to Sheriff Blake and get sworn in yesterday for his ninth
Congratulations.
term by Judge Jenny
whole
Anderson.
family.
Great crowd down there. Here's some of that video, and you'll see it all on YouTube coming up later on. And we'll see y'all whenever I decide to come back. Bye.
And if you will solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of Alabama,
and the Constitution of Alabama,
so long as I continue to be a citizen thereof,
so long as I continue to be a citizen thereof,
and that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
and honestly discharge the duties
and honestly discharge the duties
of the office upon which I am about to enter
of the office upon which I'm about to enter
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God. I want to thank everyone for coming out today. After 9 times, sometimes may not seem such a big deal to some people if you've done it already done it 8 times, but it is a big deal, and I am so appreciative. I want to thank Judge Anderson again. As Fred said, not only have I had a wonderful opportunity of working with her as her in her capacity as district judge, but also she was an outstanding prosecutor for the DA's office. And Jenny is somebody that I truly love and respect, because I don't know anyone that's more faithful and dedicated into upholding the law and diligently serving the people of Limestone County in her office and before that as assistant DA. But thank you. And I want to thank my family, my wife and my family, so many of you that are out here today, especially to the employees of the Limestone County Sheriff's Office. Somebody asked me one time, you know, how you've been successful in being elected as many times. Well, one of the main things is having good people around you. And I am blessed and have been blessed. And I thank the good Lord every day for the wonderful people that work at the Limestone County Sheriff's Office. You know, I'm not bragging, but I think we've got the best sheriff's office in the state of Alabama, because I've got some of the most loyal, dedicated, and talented people that you could ever ask for. There are several elected officials, and I hope I don't miss anyone, but let me look and see. I noticed our mayor here, our chairman of the county commission, Steve Turner, District 2 Commissioner, Brad Carnut, our circuit court clerk, our Judge Woodruff, Judge Baker, our district attorney, Brian Jones, and I'm looking, I don't know if I've missed anyone, our chief of police, Floyd Johnson. I appreciate y'all being here, and that's one of the things that made my job a lot easier, is because of the people that we've had serving in other offices, and our chief of police and the former chief of police, Wayne Harper, who's a dear friend of mine also. It makes my job a whole lot easier. The work that you did, it's very humbling. Anybody who wants to get into politics, you know, it's a very humbling experience when you've got people willing to give their time, their talent, their resources to get out there and help you get elected. Last year's election campaign, certain things became very clear. The results of the races here in Alabama and across the country leave no doubt as to the mood and the determined nature of this country's working and voting public. Law enforcement careers are a very specialized area which mixes common sense, community awareness, communication skills, and tech knowledge, and understanding along with the necessary knowledge of the law, legal procedure, and related subjects. The job of sheriff should not be subject to politics and begs to become nonpartisan at election time. But because of tradition and the reluctance on behalf of whichever party is in power, it's unlikely that it'll ever become like municipal elections, where a man or woman runs for reasons other than party affiliation. To elect a person solely because of party affiliation could be buying a pig in the poke. The proof of this starts in Washington and runs to the smallest of community elections. This is because elected officials nowadays seem to follow the party line. This could be the